you to not only see things from multitude of points of views, right? From 10 different point of views. That's how we can tell our stories, so many different ways. But here's the warning I'm getting as the sun is rising. So if you do choose to put on some rave music in your headset and dance around your room or your living room or whatever, to really kind of move that energy and see what Spirit has in store for you, when we let go of those, those like traditional kind of dance moves and get more tribal in the sense of moving your body without care of how it works and allowing that divine spirit to come through you. You will receive insight and inspiration. But the warning I want to bring with this card is that perhaps you have too much going on. I've noticed the busy bus getting really back up again. People are busy again as things are reopening more and more, and as school is starting and people are getting out there. The invitation today is pay attention to your nervous system. Like, how are you really doing? How are you really handling all this energy that's flowing around, if you are feeling that? And the shadow side of this card today is perhaps you are feeling not connected to your tribe, right? Not in alignment with who are your girls, who are your people, who are those that you can really receive witnessing from and support from. So that's the invitation here, is pay attention to your nervous system and what's happening in your head. And the invitation is for you to perhaps create a time where you can just put on your headphones, put on some music. And a lot of times at raves, and I've been going to raves since the 90s, they use a lot of that electronic music, which puts you on a different vibration. And also that repetition, that pulsating beat is getting back to that tribal drum beat, of that incredible beat back to in Native, of that drum beat that is going, that pulsating beat is the heartbeat of Mother Earth. In traditional drumming, when we're doing a drum circle, that's what it is. And we can recreate that using electronic music. I know some of you probably don't like it, but it might be a good way to change up your energy and allow that energy to flow through you. All right, our second card today is the Three of Swords. Now, we know with the swords, this typically represents the air signs, and the air signs are Aquarian, Gemini, and Libra. And right here, these three women are talking to each other, but I keep hearing me, myself, and I, that you're having intense dialogues in your head that are going over and over and over a situation. So perhaps you have all this energy and it's ruminating in your head. And you know how that happens, how we can just start telling stories to ourselves, working overtime in our head, creating drama or worst case scenarios that might come up. This can be getting lost in your story. And when I say in your story, I'm meaning that poor little me, or, oftentimes it's much easier to create a traumatic story, such as I'm going to be homeless, or I'm not going to have any place, I'm not going to have any place to live because the income isn't coming in. Whatever can create like an extreme story of trauma or drama, of being caught up in somebody else's story. Here's the warning for you today. So if you're getting caught up in somebody else's story about what they have going on, then you take it on and it takes over in your head. The invitation is for you to really pay attention, like, what the hell? Like, why am I creating all of these stories? Because what happens is when we start creating the story, especially if it's full of trauma or, and I mean trauma impacting that first chakra, survival, food, shelter, health, like those big three. Those big three, that's what we're talking about here. The big three, the food, the shelter, the health, thank you, of a dialogue, then that's going to create more anxiety. And this warning to pay attention to your nervous system is going to get whacked out of control. So it's really noticing where your stories are and what's happening in your head. All right, our third card today is this Daughter of Wands, which is like the page. Now she's rushing forward. Here's something I want to mention about the Mother Peace Tarot deck is that each way that the card falls, like north, south, east, or west, has a different meaning. And that's what I really love about this round deck. So today, you might be feeling cautious about moving forward. So we're at the end of the month here, and maybe you've made some goals about upcoming for September or perhaps into October as we're moving forward, and you're feeling a little trepidatious about moving forward. That's what she's bringing on today. Remembering that you can slow it down. You can slow down these stories that come up, that start percolating, that getting wrapped up in the drama or the drama of what's happening around you. All right. So our final card today comes from the Denise Linn Sacred Travelers deck. You know I love her. And this was also requested to see some Denise again, although I love the Colette Baron-Reid deck. Maybe we'll see her later. All right. Our card today is the grounding card. And the message says, go deeper, explore your roots. Oh, that feels right. Like exploring the roots is not only the invitation to slow down, ground down, go do some tree hugging, sit under a tree, read a book, ground down. But this exploring your roots is the invitation to exploring your family story as to why you are getting caught up in this drama of being caught up in that story again. And this couldn't be a scarcity story. It can be a terrified of your health story. When we slow it all down and ground down, that's the invitation to be grounded. When we do that, then it stops feeding the fuel to those experiences of that trauma that's being re-triggered, those old stories. So exploring your roots is the invitation to look at, where did I learn to respond this way? Why am I so afraid? Why do I have that scarcity mentality? I will mention that for any of us who were raised by parents who were children of the Depression or grew up shortly after that, they were taught a real strong scarcity story that they passed on to our generation, those of you who might be around my age, whatever age that is. So paying attention to where we learn those stories, exploring the roots, is where you'll find your relief today. All right, well, sounds like you got a little work today, but paying attention to your nervous system, I really feel, is the most important message today. So instead of going for that second or third cup of coffee, maybe have some lemon water with a little bit of, I don't know, put a little bit of salt and maybe just a little sprinkling of salt to really increase your electrolytes and to make sure you're staying nourished and hydrated. Really take very, very, very good care of yourself. Or have a cup of herbal tea. Like, lay off the caffeine today. This is a 5-star herbal tea day. Okay, so just pay attention to where you are in the story, the me, myself, and I story, and take really good care of yourself. All right, my dear, that's our reading for today. If this is your first time stopping by, thank you for being here. And if you're one of my new subscribers, I'm so grateful that you're here. And do your best to slow your stories down. Be really good to yourself. And listen, when I'm feeling out of whack and not very grounded, I moisturize. Because when we moisturize, we're putting human touch back into our body and we can really slow it down. All right. I love you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time.